Welcome, Graham.
Thanks very much, Fabi. Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to try and give you a local manufacturing perspective of sustainable textile production. And in this regard, I'm going to talk about ABMT Textiles. Some of you may know ABMT Textiles. ABM Textile is a manufacturer of specialty knitted fabrics. There's a high design input into these fabrics at ABMT, and this is through the design, the construction, coloration and finishing. And I'll just indicate it's all circular knitted fabrics. We've had a little bit of information, and which has helped me, that ABMT has their productions certified through ISO 14000. That's for the management of their environmental responsibilities. It does manufacture a range of certified organic products. We've heard about that in a previous talk. It also has certified their wool fabrics to Okotex 100. And the company has a strong commitment to environmental sustainability, and has a company policy for sustainable manufacturing. I'll start a little bit with a depiction of, shall we say, the journey from the origin to the end of life for products. And in this regard, we're looking, as the arrow shows you, with what's happening in the manufacturing stage with regards to looking at the social responsibility that's exercised, and also the environmental care that's taken in the manufacture. Just to give you a perspective, I want to focus particularly on the fact the way ABMT is located in a regional location in Melton. I think it was in the first slide, and this has a particular perspective on their sustainable activities. Oh, what's happened? Lost there. Oh, sorry about that. So we've heard a little bit about lifestyle analysis, life cycle analysis, and this slide gives you just a representation of the various composition of the various environmental aspects through the cultivation to the cut and sew for a cotton garment. And for this talk, I'm going to particularly focus on the water aspects and also on wastes in water. For this journey, this environmental journey, I'm going to use sort of a story about the fibre family. And the fibre families are growing up, as you can see. This is where the beginnings are, and all the input that you're going to have, all the environmental inputs and impacts in getting a growing family. And of course, not long after Mr. Fiber's on his way, he's now going out into the world, and of course he's probably earning a lot of points if he could in the frequent or the travel rewards policy, because as you know, the supply chain in the textiles these days involves a lot of fibre travel. So he does eventually arrive at ABMT Textiles, and of course all the yarns that are used by ABMT by the company are all imported. And then of course into manufacture he goes, and he in this process he's consuming a lot of resources, energy, chemicals as we've heard, water, power and so on. So, and that also carries on through to the fabric manufacturing. So of course what happens is that this chap, or Mr. Fiber, is eventually has quite a bill of his environmental impact and resource use to account for. So I give you this as a perspective for ABMT, because in the water use in the cotton containing fabrics is quite a high component of the environmental. ABMT is located in this regional area, and there they've got a limited infrastructure resource as far as water supply and water treatment of the effluent and so on. And this is important. ABMT entered into this a project, was a participant in the Vision for Werribee Plains, which is trying to improve environmental value, in the Melton, or in the area in which Melton is located. So ABMT developed, or the company developed, a water-wise program to try and minimise use, maximise recycling, and it's had quite an impact on what they're doing. So in the 4 years, they've reduced the water use from 151 kilolitres per kilogram down to 113. And of course this has a big impact because we're reducing from a 5% input into the water treatment plant down to 3.3%, which is quite a big drop. And the target, of course, is to try and get under 100 kilolitres per kilogram of the fabric. It does a lot of recycling internally. It brings back water from membrane processing, and it's very important that in the Melton location, 93% of the water that the output from the plant is recycled either into Class A and Class C supply. And Class A is important because it goes into residential and industrial use in the area, and the quality of this water is very important. Initiative water saving, they're moving from, on the top left is a more conventional jet machine, to the one on the bottom is an air jet machine with probably the most up-to-date technology for minimising water use. We've heard a little bit about dyes and chemicals so far. They look very carefully at selecting the best dyes and chemical recipes to reduce water. They've, under a program that I've instituted, they've squeezed the tap as far as controlling the water supply to their dyeing and finishing machines, and being able to, of course, clean the water to ensure that it's safe as far as the community's later use is important. So they have a very sophisticated water treatment operation, including settling and membrane treatment, and are in the process of introducing sludge handling in a sludge handling lagoon to try and reduce landfill significantly. So looking to the future, the company's sustainable textile portfolio, I think, as we've heard today, one of the main features of sustainability is the actual materials, and this is going to be strongly influenced by how much the take-up of the Australian market is as far as the eco and ethical clothing. ABMT has a percentage of their production, but of course they'd like to do more. So in this regard, water conservation is well underway. Also waste control is being developed so that there's minimal waste. Energy is also being focused on with a number of opportunities for improvement. The big thing about this, and I'd like to conclude with this, is the actual doing all this is a big investment challenge for a small to medium company. A lot of money is being spent at the moment in the water treatment area, and of course going to other sustainable manufacturing practices and improvements depends on a lot to do with the company's business plan and how the company could apply selectively for assistance if it was available. So I think Mr. Fiber finally is getting home, and hopefully for a continuing, as you know, it's a challenge for companies in textile manufacturing in Australia, and we hope that this company can continue to thrive and with sustainable practices. An old saying, of course, is sticking to your knitting, and of course this company is very much doing that as far as sustainability is concerned. Thank you very much. Well, we supply a lot into the we supply to manufacturers that produce to supply to retail chains such as Target, Kmart, but also higher let's say more luxury. I've heard the word luxury textiles, also to luxury textiles, but I'm not too familiar about all the brands that are supplied by the company. sorry, I can't give you that information.
Great.
Yes, it's a little bit hard to see. Yes, Mr. Fibre comes as a yarn from overseas spinning mills, as you're probably all aware, or most aware. There is no short staple spinning capability in Australia, so it's all overseas spinning. That all yarn. Sorry. We have it in the for the organic products. Yes, the ones that are certified organic products. We have all that information. Yes, we do. They come with their certificates. Yes.